Good morning, everybody. It's June 12th. We're on the creek quarter, and we just moved off of this and onto this. So here's a little experiment and story. Before I moved them into this previous spot, and I mean, you can see how they've ate all the curly dock and they've trampled everything down, and there's not much out here. It's just tough land. It doesn't want to, the grasses and stuff don't want to start. So I'm going to keep throwing seed at it. So I put my spreader on my quad, and I'm pre-spreading seed in front of the cows. The spot they just went onto, I spread it on there yesterday, and this spot I spread a few days ago, before I put them on here, so that they get the trample and seed to soil contact, hopefully, and so I put alfalfa, clover, crested wheat, and annual cereal winter rye all in my spreader to get it choked down so that I could manage it, because it doesn't have an agitator in it. So you can kind of see, obviously, they take all of this down. At the other end, there's good grass with the creeping foxtail on the other side of the creek. Take you down and show you that. I'm just going to go set up this line over here so that I can have it live. Or I got a calf underneath it. Yeah. I'll see if I can set you in here to watch. I'm not sure if you're going to see anything or not. You should, kind of. That wasn't very good. Hey, we'll just do that. I think you'll get the gist of it. So, the way I'm doing this, I have a portable fencer on the front line. I take 2 rebars, pound them in here. I got an electric wire on the inside going along the barbed wire so that my cattle don't push on the fence. And in the summertime, when my brother's cattle are on the other side, they don't try to get mixed up. So one of the things I always do to keep calves are terrible for anything, right? Chewing on. If they can reach it, they're going to play with it. So I keep my wires fairly wrapped up around this pole and away from them. And Another thing with electric fence you got to be careful of is you don't want your leads crossing. It's just another place to get voltage leaks. $5,800 volts. That's pretty decent. So I'm moving these cattle every 3 days. Let's just get on the bike, take a run here. I want to show you around a little bit. I'll go back to the other corner and tie it up now. So everybody says, oh, you got nothing but weeds in here. That cow's eating stinkweed. They love the weeds. Don't think that cows won't eat it, because they do. Take you for a drive along here just to show you what it looks like when they're moved in. Pretty weedy, pretty, I don't know how to explain it, but it's, you know, a lot of diversity. You can see the creeping foxtail is trying to come in some areas. And this area along the fence over here is a little wetter, and creeping foxtail really likes to be wet. So, and then as you go towards the creek, the land rises up a little bit, and it really doesn't grow anything. So we're back into the previous, and you can see how they cleaned up all of the weeds. Maybe not all of them, but a very large portion of them. And this stuff's all been spread with seed, so I'm hoping. And we had 4/10 rain yesterday morning, or the night before last, and I'm hoping with the pounding that the cattle pounded it in with the impact and the rain, that this stuff starts with the clover and alfalfa. So you can see right to the line, obviously. And now we'll move on. I'm just gonna go grab this wire. So these cows are pretty good. They just come to call when you call them. They come up along the fence because they figure they're going to get something better, and they do. They get new grazing. So let's get this back over here, and I'll show you what I do. So this is the way I tie onto an end, and I know there's stuff you can buy, but I put a wire in the back side of a poly wire, and I tie it on a post, and I put an insulator on it. And then, I'm not sure I'll be able to do this with one hand. Turn you over. Maybe you'll get a view of it. Okay, we guess we're gonna have to dub that together. So at the far side, I've got that portable fencer running that front line at 5,800 volts. This side, I got a basically same size fence are back there at the corner on this hardwire right here that runs all along the inside of my fence. And it's running at 3,000 on the back side and along the fence. And trust me, that's enough. If they reach through and touch that barbed wire and this, they get a pretty good jolt. So I just wrap it around the hot wire and then go back to my insulator that I tie onto a post on the back side. The poly goes through the front side, and where you would normally put it on like a piece of rebar or a post, and you go through and you hook it onto the one claw, and it's the cheapest tie-in that you can buy for tying on your poly onto barbed wire fences and stuff and having them insulated. These cows are not empty. They were quite content where they were, but of course as soon as you move them, they got to go and explore and find out what they want to eat. So this area here will eventually come into this creeping foxtail grass. I mean, once it starts getting to this, it's another year or two before it actually starts closing in and touching. But you'll notice the cows aren't too worried about the grass. They're eating the weeds. And the weeds that they're eating is curly dock, and there's a lot of curly dock in here. And when it's at this stage, it's just like candy to them. So this has all been spread with seed as well. I've got some vetch growing here. That's not hairy vetch, that's native. I believe they call it American vetch or North American vetch or something like that. So this area out here is pretty tough soil. It's been seeded twice with grass, and there's very little coming out here. Even the creeping foxtail doesn't seem to advance much out here because the water, this is a high spot, so the water doesn't really get up on here, even if it does get a spring flood, which we haven't had a spring flood now for years. This really doesn't get too much water unless it gets a really big flood. So, as you can see, there's nothing here. Like it's. So I've broadcast my mix in here, crested wheat and rye and clover and alfalfa onto this high area, and we'll see what the cows can do to pound it in. And if we keep getting rains, I'm hoping and praying that we get some more rains and this stuff will start growing, because there is the odd spot of crested wheat where, you know, a plant of crested wheat started up, or a couple plants of crested wheat started up and went to seed and spread its seed, and it's growing. But this soil is so dead and so degraded. It's another spot of crested wheat, see? And then we've got some fescue that's trying to get going, so it's okay. I'm okay with that. Whatever wants to grow can grow. I'm just trying to help it get started, because like there's a big area of nothing in here. It's probably about 15 acres of just garbage, maybe more, maybe 20. You can see where I made the quad tracks of when I was seeding it. Put my GPS on to the quad, plug it in the cigarette lighter, and it's an old S-Lite GPS, and helps me from getting so crooked and overlapping so much. I mean, I might be too far. I don't know. I guess we'll see. In the wind, I don't think it matters anyway, and it was windy as hell yesterday. But so as we get kind of closer to the creeks and stuff, more stuff starts to grow. But it's so bad out in that middle. But really, like, the foxtail barley is not even growing. You would think that the foxtail barley, like, it's growing in here, but it's not even thriving in here until you get closer to the creek. It's just terrible freaking land. Terrible land. So, anyway, this has all been spread with my mix, and hopefully it grows. You can see anywhere where the water is, the creeping foxtail, Garrison foxtail, it grows right down into the water, and it's very aggressive. But I'll just take you for a cruise on the other side here. Once you get onto this side of this little dike, which we're crossing the dike right now, you can see how the creeping foxtail is very plentiful. There's kind of a loop out here on the north side of the creek, but yet on the south side of that dike. And it's more of the native grass. This was probably never broke. This is probably a lot of native grass in here. Because when my dad used to farm down here, he farmed on the south side of the creek and on the north side of the dike. He didn't farm, I don't believe this grass here ever seen a plow. Fescue's trying to come in it. There's different stuff coming in it, but and the creeping foxtail's creeping into it, but because the native grass down here really doesn't produce that much grass. It's a very short bluegrass. So this creek is actually still flowing. This is the Pinto Creek. And this is, then you go to the south side and it's like this. And so I go right across to the other fence. There's a rock crossing up here. The old guy that had it before our family started putting rocks here for a rock crossing. Never really finished it, but it's good enough to cross with a quad. I don't know if he was going to make a crossing here to come down and be able to cross the flat when it was wet. I'm not sure. But it is what it is. It's more vetch. So this area down here in the spring with the creek and being on the south side of the dike, and this is where the Pinto Creek comes through, this always floods if we get a spring flood. Even this spring when we barely got anything, there was water laying down here. And this creeping foxtail, this Garrison foxtail, loves having its feet wet. So it's just headed out and flowering, starting to flower now. Creeping foxtail, Garrison foxtail, is an early grass. It's kind of like crescent wheat, actually maybe a little bit quicker than crescent wheat to head out. They got some grazing to do down here. There's the south fence. farmed on the other side of it. So I guess that's the tour and the move and the explanation for today, June 12th. Keep my fingers crossed. Hope some of this stuff that I spread out grows. I'm going to continue doing that throughout the year in the spots where stuff's just not growing the way I want it, or we're still converting it back from farmland to grassland, and I'm going to keep spreading seed in front of the cows and seeing if it works. I mean, the seed will be there. I don't know. They say the cows tramp it in. This is my first kick at the cat on it, so hope it works. All right. Thanks a lot for watching. Like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the stuff on YouTube that, you know, spreads the word about what I'm doing, and about regenerative farming, and have a great day. We're going to cross the creek here and bounce across again. Boom, crash, bang. That's the hitch hitting some of the rocks as we go through. I don't know, if I get energetic, maybe I'll haul a few more stones in there and try to even it up a little bit. At least I can cross. I tried crossing on over here the other day. I just about stayed in the creek. It was too greasy getting out. I just about stayed. So this is what it looks like on the other side. Like they take that creeping foxtail down pretty good, and but it'll come back fast. All right, like, subscribe, share, comment. Talk to you guys later. Have a good one.